program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to We Are the People with Tracy Marks and Jorge Estamba, who ask you to know what's happening with your student loan. Tracy and Jorge keep a deep look at student loans in this country and the industries that surround it. Every week, We Are the People will bring you new insight into the corporate welfare industry, such as bailouts, and they connect with student loans. The show will highlight on your constitutional rights and how the current system is built to infringe upon them. Join the conversation by visiting our website chat room at wearethepeople.tv. Or call the show at 888-565-1470 and let us hear from you. And now, let's tune in to Tracy and Jorge for this week's discussion.
Hello and welcome to We Are the People, Students for Liberty. My name is Tracy Marks. I'll be your host, and our co-host will be Jorge Estomba. Our show used to air on a different channel, so we have found a new home. What we plan on discussing is student loans and corporate welfare. Those are the two main concerns, and all the industries that surround them. So we'll be, of course, talking about banking, income tax, how it affects the people, how it affects the banks, who's doing what's doing who, and where we should go from there. A little bit about myself. I went back to school, I was almost 43. I went in for a visual communications degree, and I loved school. Okay, I had an awesome set of professors. The hierarchy, however, I'm not too happy with. But the point is, student loans they can change your life, and not in a good way. So I am now currently on Section 8. I'm a single mom. I have paid $36,000 to Sallie Mae on a $40,000. Them almost $48,000. So that's the bottom line, and that's what we're going to talk about, because there is no way this can be possibly right. You will never get out of debt. So that's my call. I have a child to take care of. I have college to put him through, and that is taken care of, believe it or not. But quality of life is really tough when there's nothing left to spend. So that's what we're going to talk about. Jorge, why don't you tell them a little bit about you?
Sure. First of all, my name is not that common, so let me explain a little bit. Jorge is, of course, in South Florida, it's pretty well known. It's George, so most people call me either George or Jorge. That's not a problem. Estomba is a very different name because it comes from the Basque region of Spain. That's where my parents are from. And so it's Estomba or Estomba, it doesn't matter. I've been called a lot of things with that last name, so it doesn't matter, but it's a different name. I was born in Cuba, by the way, although my parents are from Spain, and came here when I was a teenager, and came to this great country, which I'm so grateful for. And right now I am a activist, social political activist, and I belong to the MoveOn.org organization, which is an 8 million member organization in the United States, the second largest of its kind. And what I express in this program is my personal opinion, but I'm very proud of being involved with Move On as their district leader in the South Florida area. And Move On is an organization that I think it's worthwhile explaining what it is. Many of you know, but some of you may not know. Again, we're 8 million strong. We are involved in social, political activities. We get involved with banking. We get involved with student loans. We get involved with federal programs. We get involved with low pay. You name it, all the problems that this country unfortunately is confronting at this point in time, which is one of the reasons that I am an activist. I have been for 5 years. In my mature stages, I was an activist in my younger days. And that's why we're here, because we do want to try to make a difference, try to inform people in all these topics that we have discussed. And hopefully we can do that through these microphones and through TV. We do it as layman people. We're not politicians. We do it with the best of our intent to get things straightened out in this country. So that's what Move On is all about, and that's what this program is, in the same type of path that Move On is. My profession is, I used to be a psychologist. I don't practice it anymore. Not enough money in it for me, so I decided not to go practice psychology anymore. I do have a business administration major specializing in marketing. I'm a marketing consultant, and I have a company in Panama and in Nicaragua, very small, where we do logistics, international trade. So I've lived in Venezuela, lived in Colombia, South America. I know a little bit of those countries. That gives me a good feeling and helps me to put things in perspective in this country, the problems that we're confronting with immigration and how we look at it from a different perspective from different countries. So I enjoy my background. I'm very fortunate. I was in a corporate management world. I no longer believe in corporate management to a large degree, or corporate companies, and that's something we'll develop also, that I believe that I have a lot to offer. And we'll take it from there. This is our first show, and hopefully we'll develop a lot of things. And between Tracy and I, we can bring up a lot of subjects that'll be worthwhile. That hopefully we can help you make decisions with our limited knowledge. But there is a lot of people who are very confused on very basic issues, and we'll try to do it in that manner, in very simple form. Nothing fancy. We're not politicians, so there's no double talk here, and there's no BS here. It's straight talk from two people who care about this country.
And so what we want to do also is we want to try to bring a positive aspect to it. We want to try to educate you in some way in different areas. We are coming up on tax season, as you all know, so our first guest today is going to be a good friend of mine, Sonia Munjal. She has a couple of different companies she's going to tell you about. We did a mini-series with her that you will be seeing in the near future on her company, Youthful Savings, which I think is an amazing concept. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with our guest. Thank you so much.
Right now, those in the commercial world know that being heard via advertisements is the name of the game. AmpSquare.tv understands how important advertisement is and is proud to express that it's truly the only plugged-in internet television production company on the market. AMP2.tv live streams all their shows across all the major selling markets in the U.S. and abroad. Call them at 866-224-5422. The AmpSquare.tv library allows productions to be seen over and over again, making commercial platforms more usable. Call 866-224-5422. Toll free 866-224-5422. AMP2.tv. The first and only internet television network that's truly plugged in. 866-224-5422. That's AMP, the number 2.tv. You're listening to We Are the People with social justice advocates Tracy Marks and Jorge Estamba, exposing the faults in our current day society with industries that directly influence student loans. Join the conversation by calling into the studio at 888-565-1470 or join the chat room at wearethepeople.tv. Again, to call in, the number is 888-565-1470, and let us hear your voice. Now, back to our show.
Welcome back to We Are the People. And we have with us Sonia Munjal, and she is with Youthful Savings. I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about that. She also has another company, CPA for the People, and we're going to focus on that today. And I also want to send out a great big thank you to my girlfriend Jill Williams in upstate Florida, who sent me a beautiful bouquet of flowers for my first show on this station. So Sonia, you flew in from New York to see me, and this is the second time.
Yeah, my pleasure to be here. I love what you guys are doing to inform the people about what they need to be informed about so they can be awake and understand both the political landscape that we live in and kind of how to understand it and build a life.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to build a life when there's nothing left over after you pay the bills.
Yeah, so I think your concerns with student loans are definitely a real issue, and that's actually why Youthful Savings began. I was just really thinking about what my mission in life was. And one of the things that I was really fortunate enough was I was born into a family that came from India, and so taking out loans was just never an option. Everything was always based on the cash basis,
Yeah.
which is very much an Asian thing, right?
And
the Asians,
smart. They're much more
Yeah,
educated than we are.
well,
and we're supposed to be so educated.
right? And so Asians, typically tend to save more money. And so when it came time for me to go to school, taking out loans was just not an option. And trust me, I tried to fight it. I wanted to go to University of Chicago and get loans taken out for that, but my parents didn't let me. So I ended up commuting for 2 years to Northern Illinois University, and it was the best decision I ever made because I love that school. Go Huskies.
And they saved you, believe
Right,
me.
and I started working when I was 14 and had 10 grand saved just because I didn't have an option. My parents just made me
14,
work.
10 grand, that's great.
Right. So, so I wanted to, I was very fortunate, just like Jorge had mentioned, where, my parents were able to build a life here, and I was born in America, and I wanted to kind of figure out what it was that I could give, what my gift was to society. And I believe that if we can take the beautiful things about America and also integrate that with some of the other great cultures that are out there, we can really make a difference. And so for me, it's really, how do you live on the cash basis? How do you figure out how to make money a tool and not make money this big scary monster? And so that's kind of why Youthful Savings began, which is we teach kids next generation financial education through entrepreneurship. And then for every dollar we earn, we incentivize them by giving back 10 cents. So we have a couple different programs. We have a web application where the college students are able to navigate how much they're spending in college, and we'd really inform them about student loans and how much they'll end up spending.
So you have all the software there to break it all
so we
down
have
so they can see
software,
it.
exactly. And then we also have a program called My Own Business Challenge, where we target middle schoolers and we get them to open up a business. We teach them how to start a business.
I love that.
Yeah, and then if they meet their savings goal, we give them back 10%. So we're really investing in the next generation. We're incentivizing them
Yes.
for how much they're saving.
I love that.
And then in order for me to fund a tech company, I had to start another company.
Yes, you got to have
Yeah,
another company.
'cause
But there's
I-
tax breaks to that,
Right,
too,
absolutely.
right?
And
So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and since I was brought up not asking for money or taking out money, going down the equity route or taking out loans was just not an option
Yeah.
for me. So I started, luckily I'm a CPA, so I started a CPA firm, and so it's really targeted to low to middle income families. I think it's very important for them to understand how to navigate.
And most people don't want to deal with the
Right.
low to, yeah.
But I do, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I
yes,
think-
and I'm glad
yeah, and I think
because
that
you've
there's-
given me a ton of tips
yeah,
already.
please, yeah. And so, so we really focus on how do we bridge the gap. There, if you're wealthy, you can hire really great accountants and get that personalized
Absolutely.
service. And so, CPA for the People is really for the people that really can't get that personalized service. Where CPA stands for collaborative, personal, and affordable. So
I love that.
Yeah, so-
Collaborative, personal, and affordable.
yeah,
That's
so
catchy.
it's also chartered public accountant, but yeah, so we're really focusing on helping people make money into a tool. So we've got the adult business, which is CPA for the People, and then the youth business,
Yes,
which is Youthful
and-
I
Savings.
meant to ask you, I didn't know whether your company, your program was directed only at young people, but you just answered the question.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
are adults, so you do have programs for adults.
Well, CPA
Yeah,
for the people is for the adults.
Yes, right.
Youthful Savings is for the kids.
Okay.
Right. And so
All
it's just, I mean, I think everybody needs help. I need a lot of help, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
it's great to be able to,
We
it's
have
the same concepts.
advisory boards and so
right.
forth.
So the same concepts that we use to educate kids about how to save and how to build businesses is the same thing that we use for CPA for the People.
And you need to do that because it's they don't teach that stuff in
Right.
school
And it's
anymore.
very
I
unfortunate.
learned how to do my income tax. I learned how to do a checkbook. I mean, they didn't have a ton when I was in school, but it was a lot compared to what they have now.
Right.
So we found people just falling deeper and deeper into debt, not realizing what they're doing, because there's a lot of smooth talkers out there, and they make you believe something totally different than what's actually happening.
There definitely needs to be an independent voice to figuring out college, right? So I think that's what we try to do is, what we do is we marry products with service. So not only do we create products, but we also teach kids how to use our products. so that way they really are informed. It's been one of the reasons why CPA for the People got started was because we wanted to get this into schools, we wanted to get this into after-school programs, and it's very, very difficult.
I was going to say I tried to call about getting, you have to actually go through the school board here. I
Yeah.
wasn't able to do that in time last
Right.
time you were in town.
So
I
you-
just couldn't, put
Right.
it together. It's very time consuming. I admire
and
your
education.
gumption.
And so education is just a very touchy subject. And so I was talking to Jorge about this earlier. I'm coming to a point where it's difficult for me to hire people because the kids that are coming out of school aren't quite as educated as they probably should be. And so that's a real issue that we need to focus on in America. And I think going in with immigration is also another concern because this country was built on immigrants and their
Yes.
hard work ethic, and they came here to work hard. And when you can't get them the proper paperwork to file their taxes and to, be a member of society in America, that's a problem.
There it is. Do you have a lot of immigrants in your program? Are there?
Yes,
there a large segment of
absolutely.
through immigrants?
Yeah, I believe maybe it's because I'm a first generation in this
That you
country.
identify with
Yeah, I
them?
identify with them, and I think that they work really hard. And I've talked to a lot of teachers, and teachers will tell you the same thing. And I think that it's really important to understand that we are now a global economy. And if we really want to build self-sufficient humans, our education system really needs to provide that. And
the
we pay a lot of
detractors
money in
I'm
taxes.
sorry,
No, go ahead, no.
I was going to say the detractors of the immigration reform bill, one of the propaganda machines, which I call as an activist, that gets me very upset is that immigrants are on the lazy side, and what they do is they depend on the federal government to subsidize them under other social programs. My research has indicated that immigrants are very hard workers,
Yep.
and they basically do not take much of these the money for these social programs. That they only do it when it's really a dire necessity. Is that what you have found out?
I mean, I believe that America once was, and hopefully still is, which is to be determined, the land of opportunity. So if you somehow hustled your way into America, you must have come here with a mission to make a life for yourself. I don't think that you came here for social programs.
One thing I'd like to point out, too, I know a lot of people that are not legal in this country, but
Right.
they own business. Okay, they own
Right.
businesses and they pay taxes. They never I would just like
Yeah.
to make that very clear. They never receive anything for that. A lot of people are under the
Right.
misconception that immigrants don't pay taxes, and that's just not true.
No, that's absolutely. I have a couple immigrant clients who have an ITIN number. They have to go and get an ITIN number. They're on various different visas. They haven't gotten their green card yet, and they're very hardworking people. And my heart goes out to them. I think it was a gift that I was born here and got citizenship for just being born here.
I'm glad you feel that
Yeah,
way.
and my parents, came here really early on in the 70s, where it probably wasn't so difficult to get a green card or.
And college cost about $10,000 then. Somewhere
Right.
between $3,000 and $10,000. You could work a part-time job and you could pay
Right.
for your college.
And that's where the mission of Youthful Savings, I really believe in, is because we try to hire high school and college kids to come work for us. My stakeholders really are just the employees and the people that we help and the families that we help and the youth that we help. But it's a serious problem. The issue is that the global economy is changing so much. And if we do not get our education level to be at par with other countries, we will suffer.
Well, we used to be 1 and then 2, and now we're 17, is it, George?
Right.
We're 17th as far as the testing.
Yeah.
The 17 leading industrialized countries, we have been
Right.
17th for about 10 years, which shows that
And I
what you're saying.
Yeah,
we don't have a good
and
education
I lived in
system.
right.
We're
I lived in
falling behind.
D.C. for a year, and I had to deal with some politicians. And I have to say that being behind education is not just talk. There needs to be action for that.
There needs to be action because they can't read when they
yeah.
come out of school.
So
I
I'm-
sat in class with college people
Right.
that could not read,
Right.
and I'm like, oh my God.
And I will help anybody that I can understand the tax code to take advantage of as many deductions as possible so that we can somehow defund the government at this point. Because I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated with the education system and how 6% of taxes goes towards education. I will work with everybody possible so that the tax code can be simplified so that we can figure out a way to get some of these people out.
Let me ask you, are you saying that 6% of our national budget, of our GDP, or national budget, to be more precise, goes into education? Only 6%?
Yep.
And now we have the lottery, but where's that money
But
going?
lottery isn't. Can we talk about how I'm pretty sure that gambling is not a good thing for society? So can we talk about how ridiculous it is that that money is going towards quote unquote education?
But it's not. That's the thing. If it was,
Right.
I could deal
Right.
with the
Right.
fact.
And I've
Okay,
done my
but it's
research.
not
Yeah,
going there.
I've done my research. I hang out with a lot of teachers. They are frustrated.
They cut my son's school every year.
Right.
6 people this year, 7 people that year, 8
Right.
people this year. You know, they cut them out, and then all the arts, all physical education, which especially in
Right,
elementary
which is
school you
helpful.
need.
health and wellness.
Yes.
And I will say that 52% of most taxes goes towards defense. So I'm glad that most of my money is going towards killing people instead of educating people not to kill people.
Yeah, why not? You know,
Yeah.
hey.
So
So listen, if you'd like to call in and make a comment, our number is 888-565-1470. Again, 888-565-1470 if you'd like to ask Sonia some questions about taxes. This would be the time to do it. What happens with student loans and taxes?
well, there's an interest deduction that you can take. You do have to make a minimum, which the
Yes, I
number,
haven't made that amount
Yeah,
yet.
you need to make
I
a
haven't got the
minimum.
deduction
Right.
once, I don't think.
Right. So, but think about that. I mean, the government is incentivizing you for taking out loans. Sallie Mae is associated with the government.
So they used to be government, but now they're
Right.
private, and that's made it worse.
Well, it's
because
made it worse. It
they got
hasn't helped it
90
at all.
In the late 90s, they removed the brunt of consumer protections from student
Right.
loans. Now, let's see, Sallie Mae went private, I believe it was 2004, the end of 2004. By the beginning of 2005, they had ripped the rest of consumer protections from student loans. So you can have a brain tumor and
You'll still have
tough.
to pay them. Yeah.
You're still paying, or your parents will. They're
So
going to
all
pay
you
for
can
your
do
funeral, then they're going to pay.
Is not take out loans.
Exactly.
Take community college. Understand that if
No
you're
private loans,
yeah, if you're
especially.
living in America, you do have to pay some taxes, sales taxes, a little bit of income tax. Like you have to pay taxes. So
Well,
understand.
we'd all be paying lots of taxes
Right.
if they did it at point of sale.
But all I have to say is like understand the system. Community college is a good option. It's subsidized by tax money. State schools are subsidized by tax money. I'm going to go and take a discount for my education. I am not going to go to a private school. It's just not going to happen.
Okay, so you're saying that the loan for the
The
college
cost.
loan is not necessary if you go to a state university?
I think that there are ways to work 2 to 3 jobs, which is exactly what I did. Paying for 3 degrees and a CPA was not a cake.
no
Okay,
cakewalk.
so I worked 3 jobs to do it,
Right.
but I walked away without loans. It takes hard work, but you know what? So is building businesses, so is surviving in America, and that's exactly what it takes. It
So
takes that
you're-
fortitude.
And if you're young, that's great. I
Yeah.
mean, the adult education, you know, those that have went back in, it's a little bit different, especially I
It
met a
is.
lot of single mothers,
Right.
you know, a lot of people aren't able to do that. And if
I-
you do end up taking a loan, make sure it's a government one, not a
There's-
private.
Yeah, and there's this like movie. It's a Bollywood movie actually, but there's this quote, and it says, "There's always an easy way, and there's a harder way. And the easy way will always entice you, and the hard way will always, by nature, be more difficult. But if you take the hard way, you'll actually end up better." And so you've got to not take the little trap, which is student loans. It's a trap.
It is a trap.
Financial education company or financial education offices in a school are not independent. I mean, they are there. They need tuition money. Most schools have lost a lot of their students.
Oh,
A lot
sure
of
they
students are
have.
not going to school anymore. After the 2008 collapse, I mean, a lot of people don't have money, right? And a lot of people can't get the loans that they once could.
So, Sonia, tell people how to reach you. We've got about 3-4 minutes left. And, you know, any little tips that you want to throw out there.
Sure. So there's 2 websites, youthfulsavings.com or CPAforthepeople.com, all spelled out. There's contact information there. That's probably the easiest way to
Okay.
reach me.
So definitely check that out. She's got a lot of information. She also takes calls, and you know. So do you have any tips for people with student loans as far as tax stuff goes?
Well, you can get the interest deduction, but what I would recommend is working a lot of different jobs and paying that stuff off. It's not going to go away.
I know we don't have enough time, and we'll pursue this, but you mentioned something that I'm very concerned with, which is low wages and low pay is not okay. that a lot of organizations are involved and move on is very strongly as others. Do you find that the $7.75 federal wage is something that is completely not feasible?
Totally not. For an
realistic?
adult, absolutely not. When I was 14, I would have loved $7 an hour. At 29, absolutely not.
Yeah, I was making $7.
Yeah,
Actually, I
that's
was making
ridiculous.
$15
I mean, what
an
you
hour at 15 years old.
What is
so
the
this
CEO
is killing
making,
me.
and what is the person on the ground that's actually bringing in the income making? There needs to be some sort of
Okay.
adjustment.
I wanted your opinion on that since you're in that field. And by the
Yeah.
way, $7.75 is comparable to 1968 levels.
Yeah, that's the
And
cost.
that's government statistics.
Right.
That's mind-boggling, and we have to do something about that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Before I forget, you know what? We didn't say where we're coming from. We're coming from Boca Raton, Florida.
Oh, that's
In
right.
lovely South
yes.
Florida. And Boca Raton means the mouth of the mouse. That's a mouthful.
Not the rat?
No, it's not a rat. By the way,
Just
we're going to
sounds
have
like
the
a
rat
rat.
of the week.
But we will do a rat of the
We'll,
week.
we'll have a rat of the week. But
Okay.
we're in Boca Raton, Florida. Or Americans should say it Boca Raton.
Ew,
okay.
Boca Raton, yes.
Well, it was a pleasure being with you guys. Thank you for having me.
It was great having you here, and it's great information for people.
Absolutely.
That education is a priority for
Yeah.
any country that really wants to remain
Right.
a democracy.
Yep.
That's my feeling.
Absolutely. We all have to be informed, and we have to make the next generation stronger than we are.
All right, well, thank you for joining us. We'll have a little more format next week, and we'll see you then.
You
night.
have been listening
Good
to
night.
We
Good
Are
night.
the People with social advocates Tracy Marks and Jorge Estamba, who every week bring to the light the needs and changes in our current system. Tune in every Monday night at 7 p.m. on wearethepeople.tv and participate in the conversation in the chat room or call 888-565-1470. Tune in next Monday for more information and facts. And Tracy and Jorge remind you to stay aware of your surroundings and challenges at all times. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.